Hey all, welcome to ShareTrek. This is Raj here. Friends, today we saw some strange things happen in the market. The entire genomic watch list that we have jumped as if it was on tiger juice, but amazingly, CRBU Biosciences lost 8% and was the only loser in our watch list. As suspected, I think in my video yesterday, I had mentioned about it, profit taking might happen in CRBU, and it did happen in my opinion. That's what brought it down 8%. People must have sold it in huge quantities, especially people who had been holding CRBU for a long while and who now saw an opportunity to offload and book some profits and diversify their risk because there are other opportunities as well. So I also had some very interesting conversation with some of our subscribers and thought that those concepts we discussed in our comment section were important to bring into a video. We'll touch upon some of our most prominent stocks, CRISPR, Beam, as well as CRBU in those discussions. And I hope you can watch till the end because I'm going to talk about it in the second part of this video. That said, let's get started. Welcome back, friends. I have two topics to discuss today. First, I want to talk about stock price movement that happened today. And then I want to talk about a very important epiphany I had about CRISPR, Beam, and CRBU Biosciences. And I want your feedback and thought on that because I'm still a bit confused, but it's a brand new thought. I'm wondering what our ShareTrek community thinks about it. So coming back to what happened in the market today, today's top gainer in our watch list was DNA with 11.86% gain, followed closely by Invitae gaining 10.38%. So as soon as DNA reached close to $2, I went to my trading desk, opened up my system, and I placed a covered call order because I'm pretty sure that if I manage to get the covered call, it's going to fall back in a few days and I can always make some gains out of it. I have to go back and see whether my order got executed. And the other thing I noted was Allogene, PSCB, and Intelia followed closely behind with 9% gain. And then I saw that CRISPR gained 6% and Bluebird gained 6.14% and Beam gained 5.12%. And why am I talking about these three companies? Because I'm trying to find out what's the basis of this gain. Is it a random gain? Shouldn't CRISPR, Beam, and CRBU gain more because they have actual IP? And maybe CRISPR and BLUE, let us forget CRBU. Let us go just with CRISPR and BLUE. Shouldn't they gain because they have exascell and lower cell ready for monetization? Shouldn't be the maximum gainers? So that's not the case here. So I don't know what is the reason for these gains. Neither of those logics seem to fit. And CRBU was the sole and top loser, losing 8% after gaining massively in the last 2 days and seems to fit the logic I spoke of in my video about CRBU yesterday. What is confounding is that QQQ only gained 0.03% while Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon, and FNGU were in the red. So that's a very, very interesting move. And I don't know what is happening in the market. As they say, shoot first and talk later. I promptly placed orders to sell calls wherever I could, and I'm waiting to see how many of them I have bagged. And I'm sure tomorrow the shares are likely to fall again. If not tomorrow, maybe day after tomorrow, because these things can happen in spurts of 2 days or 3 days and then move in the other direction. I don't know. Is it possible that some new ETF is buying up genomic shares? Who knows? I don't have a clue. If any of you know, please put it in the comments. Now that said, in terms of chart patterns, I have found something very, very interesting. So let me take you to the TradingView platform and run you through some of these chart patterns. And after that, we'll talk about my epiphany on CRISPR, BLUE, and CRBU. So here we are in the TradingView platform. And as you can see, we are in the NASDAQ futures, which is showing a 0.02% change out here, which basically means nothing. Let's go and look at the indicators. QQQ gained only 0.03% as I mentioned. So this is a very anemic gain out here. And if I also look at the index movers, as I call them, Microsoft was down 1.60%. And Apple was down 1.09%. And if you look at Google, it was down 2.74%. Amazon was down 2.04%. And FNG was down 2.5%. So as you can see, the index movers, whom I generally use as a guideline to see what's going to happen with genomics, those index movers have dropped. And if we were to go into genomics, I have sorted this out on basis of the winners on the top. At the very bottom, you'll see CRBU Biosciences, which has lost 8.54%. So we had a huge gap up out here, which is again something that concerns me. But as I mentioned in my video yesterday, there is going to be some profit taking and we're going to fall down. We have fallen down almost 8.54% today from the open. So that's a reversal. And also one can say that it's also because RSI was overbought. So that's one more reason. And also my reason basically is that people who had been holding CRBU Biosciences for quite a while and were profitable would have thought this is the time to de-risk themselves and sell it off and buy it back again when it falls. I would have done that. I suspect many people have done this. And I heard one of our subscribers said that they sold CRBU Biosciences today. So it all fits into the narrative that I had. Now let's go to some of the chart patterns that I had seen. The first one I would like to talk about is Allogene. So Allogene is, in my opinion, Allogene is forming some kind of cup and handle pattern. It's in the stages of forming one. And also I have seen that it has got a bottom that it has tested, which is somewhere around 4.53. So it has tested it more than once and then bounced up. I can't call this as a double bottom or a triple bottom, but I would consider it to be bullish in that sense. And also this shape kind of looks to me like a cup and handle. For example, let me just take what I consider to be the neck of this and bring it down. So I can see a cup pattern out here, but I'm not going to call that right now. I'm just making an observation that there could potentially be a movement down and then going up, in which case the cup would have formed out here, the neckline would be out here, and then we'll see where the target would go. Now, the next one I saw about Allogene is that there is a huge number of shorts on Allogene. I believe 52% of Allogene float has been shorted. So there is a lot of short squeeze going on out here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go and hit 6.14 or 6.53, something like if we go to hit this resistance. I wouldn't be surprised because with that kind of heavy shorting, if there is no supply, there is going to be a big problem for the shorts. The next stock I want to talk about is CRISPR Therapeutics. CRISPR has shown trend reversal in my opinion with a massive gain today. So there is this red candle, then the next day was a green candle, and this one is a bigger green candle. It has gone out, it has broken through a resistance at 56.36. So I'm going to mark that as a support going forward. So CRISPR seems to be turning around, and there's plenty of room on the RSI for it to go up, and MACD is almost ready to turn over to the bullish side. So I'm thinking that CRISPR has definitely turned around, it has done a pattern reversal today. And a very interesting pattern I saw next was in ARCG. There is a double bottom out here, which has been well tested. And my target for ARCG is around 36.5, that kind of a range. I'm basing this on the double bottom pattern. So I'm thinking we have a target of around 36.56 or something like that. I'm going to convert this line of resistance into a support. And this line of resistance was on 34.73. That's now become a support. Our next resistance is at 35.44. And I'm pretty sure that we are going to test 36.91 very soon. Next one that I have is Illumina. Illumina, as we can notice, it's gained only 0.34%. It was the weakest gainer in our entire watch list. So it seems like the market is really worried about the Grail fines coming through. Right now, that money is sitting as reserve in the balance sheet of Illumina. If the management did come out and talk or indicate that they will be negotiating with the EU authorities and offering to offload Grail at a suitable point of time in exchange for not having to face the fine. If some news like that comes out, I'm pretty sure Illumina will bounce back really, really strong because it has fallen very, very drastically. And I think its bounce back will go at least up to 227, which in my opinion is somewhere around, let us say 227. Where is 227? we are looking at somewhere around 23.52% gain in my personal opinion. Of course, this is not financial advice, so please don't go there and buy Illumina based on what I am saying here. Do your own analysis, do your own due diligence. And I think that apart from profit taking in CRBU, we must also be a bit concerned about a gap up that took place here, which I was talking about. It's like a big gaping hole out here, and it has to be filled up sooner rather than later. So I'm worried. So those were my observation on the price chart. And now I'm going on to my next topic. This section is about IP valuation in CRISPR, Beam, and CRBU. Each of these companies have developed IPs or have ability to license IP such as CRISPR-Cas9, prime editing, Chardonnay, base editing, etc. But while the CRISPR-Cas9 ownership is yet to be decided, time is running out for the patent protection. Each party is selling IP. By the time the ownership decision arrives, more than half the patent duration will be gone. There may be lots of companies doing research right now using these technologies, but they need to pay licensing fee only when they decide to monetize. That date is I think, pretty far off. And by the time many of these companies get into phase 2 clinical trial or something like that, it will be a long time from now. So what really is the value of these IPs? Has it been priced in? Is that why all these shares are quoting so low? Sure, value exists where they have used it to develop therapies that are in the clinical trials en route to monetization. For example, Exaccell is a great example of IP which has been put into practice in the own product, which is Exaccell, and it's likely to get monetized by the end of this year. So we know that that's got value. Beam also needs to have a monetization soon on its own IP, and come up with some therapy that gets approved by FDA so that they can monetize it. In fact, I think Beam and Prime will be having a slight edge over CRISPR because they have undisputed IP on the base and prime editing. And by the time they come up with products which go out, I think CRISPR-Cas9 licensing would have, CRISPR-Cas9 would have gone past the patent time, and it will be free for all at that point of time. So as you can see, I'm still not very clear about the valuation of these IPs. If any of you have any thoughts or better understanding on this issue, please comment and let me know. That can help us to understand our genomic stocks much better, because initially we were just looking at who owns CRISPR Cas9 and who is the person who's going to benefit if they get the title. And the litigation has been going on for quite a while, and so good portion of the IP is gone already. So the protection will go off after, I think it is 20 years these days. I don't know if it's 10 or 20. I'll have to look it up. But it's a finite period of time. So the advantage to the IP holder is dissolving by the minute as time goes by. So I would like you guys to give me your feedback. You may have some thoughts about it. So that's all I have for today, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. But before I go, I would request you to please subscribe if you have not yet done so already. And if you like this video, please press a like out there. It helps YouTube to take this to other people. It lets them know that it's a good video. So at the very least, put a like out there. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.